Welcome back to Explaining Everything, the channel where we dive into the stories and mysteries behind everyday things. Today's question comes from one of our curious viewers, Boots and Giggles 77. Thanks for the suggestion, Boots and Giggles. You asked, what is the difference between leather and suede? At first glance, leather and suede seem like they're just two fashion cousins. You know, like the one who wears sunglasses indoors and the other who insists you feel how soft their jacket is. But the truth is, these two materials come from the same source. And yet they couldn't be more different in texture, durability, and attitude. So how exactly do we go from one cow to two totally different styles? Let's break down the differences right here on Explaining Everything. Here's the big twist. Leather and suede both come from animal hides, usually cow, but sometimes goat, lamb, pig, or other animals that didn't run fast enough. The difference starts with which part of the hide we use. Leather is made from the outer layer, the grain side, which is tougher, smoother, and has that shiny finish. It's basically the cow's public face, the part that spent years holding back rain, bugs, and awkward stares from passing horses. Suede, on the other hand, comes from the inner layer, the flesh side, which is softer, fuzzier, and way more delicate. Sometimes it's split from thicker hides, so you get just the velvety inside, and sometimes it's made from the whole hide flipped over. Either way, it's the cow's private side, never meant for the runway until humans got involved. So in short, same animal, but one material is the bodyguard, and the other is the lounge singer. Once the hide is removed, both leather and suede go through tanning, which is a chemical process, not a beach vacation. Tanning prevents the hide from rotting, stiffening, or smelling like a haunted barn. For leather, the grain side is usually kept intact. It might be smoothed, polished, or embossed, but the top layer stays, giving that sleek, tough finish. Sometimes it's even coated for extra protection, so it's more, I can survive a thunderstorm, then please don't spill your drink on me. Suede requires a little more. Shaving. The outer grain is sanded or split away, leaving behind the inner fibers. This creates that signature nap, the fuzzy texture that changes color when you run your hand over it, which is basically the textile equivalent of a mood ring. It's worth noting, making suede sacrifices toughness for style. Think of leather as a brick wall and suede as a plush pillow. One stops intruders, the other makes you want to take a nap. Leather is smooth, sometimes glossy, and feels solid under your fingers. It can be stiff at first, but over time it softens and molds to whatever it's part of, whether that's a jacket, a wallet, or the seat of your car. It says, I've been around the block, and I have the creases to prove it. Suede, on the other hand, is soft, matte, and has that fuzzy pet me surface. It feels luxurious in a way that makes you immediately understand why it's used in things like dress shoes and jackets. Even if your brain is simultaneously screaming, "Don't wear this in the rain." One makes you feel like a rugged adventurer. The other makes you feel like you're starring in a 70s folk music album cover. If leather and suede were in a boxing match, leather would win in the first round. Not because it's mean, but because suede would faint at the sight of water. Leather is naturally water-resistant, though not waterproof unless specially treated, and its tough grain layer can handle scuffs, scrapes, and years of abuse before it shows major wear. Suede? Well, suede will absorb water like a sponge, stain if you breathe on it wrong, and get ruined if you even think about wearing it to a muddy festival. It's the high-maintenance friend in your wardrobe. Yes, suede can be treated with protective sprays, but it will never be as rugged as leather. So while leather might survive a motorcycle crash, suede might not survive a spilled latte. Here's where it gets fun, because even though they're made from the same hide, leather and suede give off completely different personalities. Leather says, "I ride motorcycles, I'm not afraid of storms, and I've definitely been in a movie fight scene." It's bold, confident, and maybe a little intimidating. Suede says, "I write poetry in coffee shops. I own 3 candles that smell like autumn leaves, and I make eye contact in a soulful way. It's soft, romantic, and unapologetically fancy. One is for adventure, the other is for atmosphere. And depending on your mood, you might want one or the other, or both if you're feeling like a cowboy poet." Same origin, different destiny. Leather keeps its grain layer intact, making it tough, smooth, and ready for just about anything. Suede ditches that outer layer for a soft, velvety finish that looks incredible but needs way more pampering. If leather is the reliable, all-weather best friend, suede is the glamorous acquaintance who's perfect for special occasions, but probably won't help you move house. Both are beautiful, both have their place, and both remind us that even from the same starting point, you can end up with 2 totally different vibes, whether you're a rugged adventurer or a coffee shop poet. If you learned something new, don't forget to like, subscribe, and maybe combine both for maximum fashion. Also, if you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for tuning in, and join us next time here in the channel that answers all the why, what, who, where, and how questions you've always wondered about, here on Explaining Everything.